Okay, go ahead.
Pretty cool, doing stuff, pretty cool, doing stuff, pretty cool. Yeah.
Hey, we're live at Woolies. Can you believe it? You want to get in there, Core?
Core, we got
Put
cans
those
right
headphones
here for
on
ya.
there.
Okay, I just need my microphone.
No,
Microphone
just
right
use
here.
that. You're fine. Well, maybe you should use a different microphone.
Well,
Mace is going to take a hiatus from the podcast
he's
today.
got to fix something.
He might come back in a little bit, so you could use that
Yeah.
stuff. I'm sure he doesn't mind your. Yeah, that's his stuff.
Yeah, it's his stuff.
Come back in a little bit, then. Everybody, we are. I don't know whether to look at the cameras because it's also a video. It's a
Well,
video
why not?
podcast and it's also an audio podcast. I say this every time, Jerry. I'm like, we're back. We're gonna start
We're
doing
back.
more
We're doing it.
podcasts. When do you think the last time we podcasted was?
The last time we podcasted, let's see, this month is March, so I'm gonna guess
The proper question is year. This year is 2022.
this year is 2022. I bet it was November.
Dude, no, it was June 12th, 2021. And I went back and listened to it, and I was like, guys, everybody, we're back. We're going to, all summer long, we're going to podcast. It's going to be the best time ever. And then we didn't do a single one.
We're professionals. We're in a professional band, and we're
It's actually, though, there's a reason for that. This summer was us going, or sorry, summer 2021 was us going back full bore into something we hadn't done very strongly in like over a year at that point because of COVID. And all of our energy had to go into showing up and setting up and playing shows.
we had to learn how to be good at being in a band again, and I can say with confidence we're actually doing that now. Thank
We're
goodness.
finally back into it. So now we
We've-
feel like we can do this.
Yeah, like we've had several like shows that I've been like, that was the best one we've done. And I don't, since I can remember, and that's happened like a couple of times. And so I feel like we're finally like back at our fighting weight again.
So the comfort level's back to where we feel that we can show up and dedicate some time to doing a podcast before the show again.
That's right. That's right.
So, but it's just me and you first. we might get some other people to join us here in a bit.
Occasionally we had some gremlins that pop into the gear. The winter time, it is not kind to things
Well,
like guitars.
Mason said he's going to have a
electronics.
cheeseburger. He needs a cheeseburger.
You know Mason is cheeseburgers.
You know him and his cheeseburgers. He said he's going to get one. But actually, funny enough, Jerry, we are at Woolies tonight in Des Moines. A sold-out show from what I understand.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a
Two
sold-
sellouts in a row. We back, baby.
2 sellouts in a row. Especially like last week in Dubuque.
Oh, man, that was nuts.
That was incredible. So huge thanks to the city of Dubuque for coming out strong for Pork Tornadoes. And people there was people that came from like a long ways away. I talked to people that came from like Clinton. I was
Some
like, what?
Wisconsinites were there,
Yeah, some
which
people
technically
from
isn't that
Madison.
far if you're just across the border,
Well,
but that's fine. But what I wanted to tell you,
feels far to me. Sorry.
Let's recap. Let's bring this whole thing back up so that we can establish that we are going to be doing this every time we have a show.
Correct.
So June 12th, 2021 was our last podcast. That was with Tom's Top 8 at Woolies. Weird. That's where we're at today. Woolies with Tom's Top 8.
Woolies with Tom's Top 8.
If you were at the last one, it was incredible. We're doing it again. But what I want to ask you, Jerry, is between June 12th, 2021 and today, I want to get to the bottom of your best moments and your worst moments in Pork Tornado's life.
Ooh.
Do you remember possibly what your favorite show was between
my,
the last podcast and now?
my favorite show between the last podcast and now.
I've got some examples for you if you want me to rig your memory a bit.
I mean, honestly, Surf Ballroom was really incredible. Like
God, that wasn't it?
right after Thanksgiving, we do that every single year, like Black Friday or Black Saturday, whatever.
Black Saturday or like Party Saturday
That was
or
like
whatever
the
it's called.
that was probably that one stands out to me as like really the first one, like after 2020. And like everything shut. That was the first one where I felt like I walked away from that and I was like, we did a really nice job. We like responded well to the crowd. Like we all played together well. We listened to each other. The whole unit like worked really well together. So that one was really, really badass. But even then, like last week in Dubuque, dude.
Hey, what was the story? What was the story that somebody told us about Dubuque? This might be this. I couldn't remember it for the life of me, but I remember it being hilarious.
My headphones almost fell off. Okay, so before the doors had opened, you always like walk over and talk to like the staff and stuff, introduce yourself, say hi, say thanks for working today. So
No, I
I went
remember.
over, I asked for a Coke, and I asked her name, and she said her name was Atlanta, and I was like, all right, well, cool, thanks. So then, like, fast forward 2 hours, like, we walk on stage. Mike, we play a couple songs. Mike's like, hey, can we get some shots up here? And it so happens, like, that's one of the advantages of asking the bartender what their names are and stuff, is that you can shout them out. And so, I was like, hey, Atlanta, I was working behind the bar. When I say, everybody, let's cheers for everyone that's on the clock tonight. Let's make some noise for everyone that's working. When I say, hey, you say Atlanta. Hey, Atlanta. Hey, Atlanta. And then, so
it took her forever to actually hear we were saying things to her. That was the best part.
Correct.
It was like if you've seen Zach Galifianakis at the Purple Onion, that where he's like hitting the keys and pointing at his beer until they finally look, and he goes, I need another one. Okay, good.
Another one of these.
That's what that moment felt like to me.
Yeah. So then, like, what ends up happening is this lady that was in the front, this young girl, like, runs up, like, leans over the stage to, like, get Mason's attention, like, grabs his foot, and he's like, what? And she's like, come here. And, like, he bends down and, like, pops the ear out so he can hear what she's saying, and she goes, you guys are not in Atlanta. You guys are in Dubuque. And, like, to Mason's credit, he was very gracious and kind, and he was just like, oh, thank you. But, like, that one's going in the memory banks for, like, one of the most amazing things that's ever happened.
That was pretty good. That's like a Spinal Tap moment right there. Hello,
Michael, you asked me this, like, super important question about, like, what I thought was, like, my favorite show.
Yes.
Lay it on me, baby. Return.
Well,
I'm gonna volley this back to you.
Well, first, I'd like to also. Okay, fine. We'll talk favorite shows. I'm looking at the list here. I'm thinking that of all the shit we did, favorite show for me is probably McGrath Amphitheater, the big summer Cedar Rapids show. That, to me, Cedar Rapids being my hometown, that is the biggest deal for me. And that show was unreal, especially after having postponed it. We announced it in like January of 2020.
Yeah.
And then played it in July of 2021. Now, that was a very long time.
Pretty sure it was rescheduled twice too. I mean, I think there were two, not one.
It was rescheduled twice.
But two. There was not one, but two rescheduled dates for that too.
Back in the day when we were, 2 years ago today, when we were like 2 weeks, man, just hunker down for 2 weeks, and then everything's gonna go back to normal.
It'll be fine.
We legitimately thought we were gonna have a summer show in 2020. Well, what are you gonna do?
More lies.
And then we were like, oh, if we just push it to September 2020, it'll be fine.
That's obviously going to be safe.
I was always kind of mad because when we changed the date for those things, it allowed people to get refunds. And I was always kind of mad because we'd always get a couple hundred refunds whenever we changed the date.
Like, no.
And I'm like, no. And now looking back, I'm like, oh, of course you took your money back.
They were smart.
Bring your money back into your pocket and spend it on some other stuff.
They were smart.
But being back in CR, being in front of friends and family, putting on that incredible show on a beautiful evening, I think that was probably my favorite.
It was incredible.
But here's the thing: there's so many good ones. Like we had, what?
Well, I was gonna say, like, I did have. Did we already talk? Like, did we do a postmortem of that show on the podcast?
No, we because we haven't talked about.
Oh my God,
we haven't been able to talk about any of these shows.
I do want to quickly tell my favorite memory of that.
Of what show?
Of the McGrath show.
Okay.
My favorite memory of that was our lighting director, our LD, Scott Ollinger. He is also the department head at a college that's nearby Cedar Rapids. I'm not gonna like out him or whatever. I don't know if I can say where he works, but
you can.
But anyway, so he works at Cornell. He's the head of the department for the theater department there, and so he always like has access to like all these interesting new little visual trinkets and stuff. And so like one time I saw him bring a bubble machine that puts fog from a fog machine. It puts the fog inside the bubble, and then the bubble like flies out and then like pops, and then there's like these tiny little bubbles everywhere, or these like fog bombs everywhere. But anyways, so we're in the middle of the show. It had like kind of just gotten dark, and it was like when the lights like really like full bore came on, just like the whole stage was just boom illuminated, and then I see all these things that look like bugs flying.
They were.
And I didn't know they were bugs. And so in the show, I was like, Scott Ollinger, you son of a bitch. You have this cool new trick you didn't even tell us about. He's got like paper fake bugs that are flying all over the stage. It like looked like confetti, and the light was bouncing all over it. I was like, this is so cool. And then it just
turns out they were
just actual bugs.
They were actual bugs, and there was an absolute swarm of them. So Yeah, no big deal.
I did not know that they were actual bugs.
And we
So-
feel bad because the crowd probably got to experience that a little bit, but on stage it was a nightmare.
Correct.
It was a bug in the mouth the entire time. But we also had, dude, we did some fun stuff. Like we had last summer, we did that show. We did a few of the small town festivals. Like we were in Rhinebeck. We got to ride in a fire truck. Waverly, that was when they thought that the pool where they kept the chemicals for the pool caught on fire. Remember that during the middle of our show?
Oh, yeah.
And the guy told me, he goes, stop playing for a second. We need the fire department to check this out. And he goes, if there is a fire in there, we have to evacuate a 5-mile radius of this pool. And I'm sitting here looking at a crowd of 8,000 people.
Like, well,
Drunk. I'm like, I would really like to know how you're going to do this. And he
That's-
goes, I have no clue. He goes, just cross your fingers. And turns out it was just like mist, like, or just some smoke coming out of there from something, and it was fine.
It was one of Scott Ollinger's fog bubbles that like found its way, like a Pixar movie, like the little bubble that could, and floated in there. And
That
popped.
had to be it. Also,
That's
we had our green space show in Okoboji. That was where the giant tornadoes came through.
Yes.
That was if you were there, the whole day there was threat of like really bad straight line winds and tornadoes, but it just kept going north of us. At one point, right before we started playing, there were like tornadoes 10 miles north of us, but the trajectory of these storms are north. So they're like, go ahead. And we've got Kyle Mara, our official meteorologist of the Pork Tornadoes from KCRG TV9. I text him. He goes, dude, at some point you're going to get nailed. But he goes, right now, there's nothing. And he goes, but heed my warning, whether it's in 30 minutes or 5 hours, you're going to get nailed.
Yeah.
So we go on stage, and we had people looking at the radar, and they're just like, we're good, we're good, we're good. And we come off for the last song, and the guy goes, I think you're good. I think you're good. You want to do an encore? Everybody's asking for an encore. We go, all right. So we go up there, and when we
What
come
did we
off
play? Do you remember?
Purple Rain, because they were shooting off fireworks, and we come off, and he goes, you got to go now. Oh, my God. He showed me the radar. I'm like, did it really change that much in 5 minutes?
5 minutes ago, you were like, hey, you guys want to do an encore? Everything was great.
Jesus Christ. So that was the fastest teardown loadout we ever had. We probably did our entire stage in about 20 minutes, all hands on deck. And as the trailer door was closing, I'm not shitting you, 70-mile-an-hour straight line winds. The old soon to be replaced Okoboji stage that looks like a gas station roof was moving like I've never seen a structure move before. Like, we need to get off this fucking stage.
Danger.
So that was amazing. I mean, dude, we had the Adventureland Vikings trip, which of course you can learn all about on the YouTubes. That was a fun video.
Mm-hmm.
Halloween was good this year. The return of the Halloween party in CR.
Yep.
Thought that
Halloween
was fun.
Good.
Surf ballroom, winter games. We had the hair. What about the hair? What did you think about the Hairball show?
Hairball show was super fun. I was.
In case you don't know, we opened up for Hairball, the greatest cover band in the entire world.
This is a show that has like long been needing to happen. And there's probably been a dozen or more opportunities for it, like where we've reached out or they've reached out, and it just hasn't come together until it finally did in Des Moines on the Iowa State Fairgrounds.
It just sort of worked. They
at the
asked us,
Jacobson
and we
Center.
said, "Hey, that sounds fun.
Yeah, so
Might as well."
It was a ball. Like, their crowd is super friendly and
Yes.
excitable.
I
and,
was
like,
nervous, Jerry. I had a lot of internal conversations about how we need to change our set list, and how I've heard horror stories of opening bands playing Taylor Swift and like them just hating on
Ladies
you.
and gentlemen, like, you have to know that like when Mike Schulte takes building set lists very,
Take it very
very
seriously, guys.
Like, he makes the science out of it, and so he is like, before he wants this to go well, like every show, and so he like reaches out to all these previous bands, like, hi, this is Mike.
How did Sex on Fire work out for
did
you?
you guys sing this song, and what was the response like? Okay, well, so,
like anyone else cared.
So Mike is like beautiful mind with like red yarn and push pins on a bulletin board. Like, okay, but then this one has to go here, and like, so he like develops a set list, and to your credit, it went over perfectly.
It was a good set list, but what I learned was that it does not matter what song you cover, what type of music you play in front of who you play it for. If you own that song and you do a good job on it, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I learned. It was a valuable moment to know that we can put our rock spin on a Taylor Swift song and play it in front of a Hairball crowd and have them be like, holy shit.
Hey, they were good. I like them.
And if you've never seen them, like
Their name is
stood
garbage, but
they're
cool guys.
We stood backstage for that, and like those fuckers, they're so good, and they put on such a cool show. and you got to go see him. And I'm hoping we'll do that again because it was a very. We talked to a lot of the band members in the crew, and they're like, "That worked out really well."
Yeah.
Like surprisingly. We're like, I know it was good.
One of the things that stands out to me, like, so in like, I'm not gonna give away Mike Schulte's secret sauce, but like, suffice it to say that he kind of has like a way of. When it comes to the set list, like bring him up, slow
bring
it
him
down
up, bring
a
him
little
down,
bit,
bring him back up.
Bring him back up a little more.
Punch him in the face.
It's kind of like it's like the old treadmills. If you guys ever ran on the old treadmills, like when they would have the little stair step.
I don't prefer to be so rigid. I like them to be curves.
Yeah,
that was like more up and down sine waves type shit.
But like one thing about that we noticed about Hairball too is like there is no down for them.
They never
They're
play
like,
a soul song.
It is like 2+ hours of just way up here, banger after
and they have
banger
the ability,
after banger.
like they do Guns N' Roses. They could easily do a November Rain or something like that. But they're
Absolutely.
like, no, we don't do that.
That's stupid.
Are you? Oh, cool.
Have you heard the other songs?
Nice slow song, guys.
Yeah. Open your heart.
But we had me and Mason had a like 30, 45-minute conversation with Happy, their guitar player, after the show, and just got to shoot the shit with him about what it was like not playing shows for so long and then getting back into it. And he went through a like major health scare within the last 3-4 years, like a really bad cancer with a bad survival rate. And like he actually announced at that show that he just had a checkup.
Just had a scan.
He just had a scan and everything's good.
That's right.
That was like such a fucking cool moment to tell that to a big ass crowd of 5,000 people and have them be like, yeah.
Right.
So cool.
That is
but
awesome.
I think you'll maybe see that again. I mean, there's not many bands that we do open up for, but Hairball's one that we would do that for.
You bet.
Him and Hairball and Dustin Lynch, baby.
And Justin Timberlake, I would allow
And
that
JT.
as well.
Tay.
I would
Get some
consider
Tay-Tay.
that as well.
I actually don't understand why. This is me from a cover band point of view. I don't understand why a giant artist like a Taylor Swift doesn't just have a cover band open up the show, to where all they're doing is just playing songs that people know and getting them ready to go while people come in. Instead of, I get the original band aspect of like, here, let's bring an up-and-comer with us and let them showcase their talent.
Ted Sheeran.
But also, like, can you imagine going to a Taylor Swift concert and Pork Tees are there and we're just playing like Dark Horse and Gangster's Paradise and
So if
Justin
any of you
Timberlake
are
songs?
cousins with Taylor Swift and could send a text message or two in our favor, like, hey, Taylor, have you ever thought about having the Pork Tornadoes?
I'd really like that.
That would be acceptable to all of us here at Pork Tornadoes Incorporated.
But yeah, man, it was a good little stretch, and we're obviously going to jump back in and do some more stuff. We got an insane summer tour to announce. In fact, we're trying to come up with a name. Last year was Godzilla Tour. Yeah. There's some good names.
Yeah.
I just don't know if you guys Pork Tees fans have an idea for a summer tour.
What would look good on a shirt?
Godzilla Returns is an easy one to do because it is the same vibe.
Godzilla versus Kong.
Godzilla versus Kong. Batman tour. I don't know. Have you seen the new Batman?
I haven't seen the new Batman.
Oh, my God.
Don't tell me what happened.
If you want more, clearly you like podcasts. If you want more podcasts, go listen to my Confused Breakfast podcast. We do the classic movies, but we just broke character and did a bonus episode where we went to the new Batman.
What?
And we're spoilering it and reviewing it if you've seen it. It's pretty good. But we got we're just happy to be back. We got a couple shows coming up. Hopefully you'll come join us next week.
What we got?
This upcoming weekend here, we're at Rust Belt in Moline. Rust Belt, if you haven't seen, is like such a top-notch venue. This is our first time there, second time in Quad Cities, first time at Rust Belt. We're with the old Not Quite Brothers. That's going to be fun. Tickets still available on that one.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is our second time to market in the Quad City area in the history of this band. I think. So if you would do us a super cool solid and tell every single person that you know.
Tell everybody.
In the 100-mile radius of the Quad Cities. Like, hey, there's this cool band. They're pretty nice guys. They might open for Taylor Swift. You should get tickets to their show. We would really, really appreciate it. Well, we want to have a good show.
I do feel like you have the ability to basically be like, listen, if you don't like them, I will buy your ticket back from you. Because I feel like I feel like you have that ability to do that. Because they're going to like it.
Correct. We are offering a money-back guarantee.
We are offering a money-back guarantee. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Because they'll always be, but you have to prove it. You have to literally prove somehow that you hated the show. It's like going to a restaurant and eating the entire steak and then going, I didn't like the way my steak was cooked.
Yeah.
No, you can't go to our show and stay the whole time and
would-
drink 10 beers and then ask for your money back.
What would be evidence, though?
I think
what would be something?
Okay, I think we put somebody at the door that we know and trust, and they're in this little ticket booth, and it just says refunds. And they like from the minute you come in, you have like a 30-minute counter where you can walk in and you can go, listen, I didn't like this band. And then they have to fill out a survey, be like, okay, well, what didn't you like about them? I hated the drummer's face. Okay, well, so is there anything we can do to change that? No, you can't change the drummer's face. Okay, well, so you're telling me you'll never come to a show ever again? No, I will never set foot. Okay, here's your money back.
Here's your money back.
But you have to prove it. There's a little ticket.
A
Or we can
waiver.
put up an iPad, like it's like customer service. It sends it off like overseas.
Oh my God, we should get one of those things that just has like the green face, the yellow face, and the red face.
Oh my God, like
As
an
you
airport?
walk out.
Like an
yes.
airport.
Yes. Where can we get those?
I think people are going to miss it because I do that to bathrooms sometimes. Even if like the bathroom's clean in an airport, but there's like one piece of paper on the ground, I'm like, red face.
What?
Because I want it
Is
cleaned
that
up.
fair?
I want it cleaned up.
Well,
Don't give me that option. Otherwise, I would have just went on with my life and never thought about that bathroom again. But now you're letting me push a button that says, fuck this band, I hate them. My girlfriend broke up with me tonight. Fuck this band.
It's their fault.
I'm just saying. So go ahead and tell them money back guarantee in East Moline. April 2nd, we're back up in the Northwest Iowa. We're in Spencer, Iowa for the Northwest Beer Fest, which apparently used to be called like Rock and Bacon Brew. I don't think you were in the band when we did that.
I was not in the band.
This was a long time ago. We went up there, and that's where we took that photo of Mason sitting on a random toilet seat in the middle of a cornfield.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
it said, Mason, down in the dumps, not quite seen on The Voice. It's a good album cover. Maybe I'll make that the cover of this. Tickets available for that one too. Then we got a double show weekend. We're April 22nd, Hard Rock Casino, Sioux City. I love that place.
Yeah,
That's
joint
Friday.
Is awesome. That
Dan
joint is awesome.
Olson's playing with us, who's the funniest, nicest, best person alive.
He is a delight.
He's a delight to be around. And then the next day we'll be back to Omaha, April 23rd at the freaking Waiting Room. Love that place. I think we've sold that place out every time we've been there.
Uh-huh.
Which is
so.
insane because they told me, they were like, oh, yeah, new bands always takes a while to build the market up. And I was like, okay. And then sure as shit, man, Omaha came hard.
When I talk to venues, I do like to be like upfront and honest. And I'll tell them like exactly this. I'll say like, generally speaking, the first show is not, is maybe not impressive.
It's not what our social media looks like.
Yeah. But by that second time around, I have yet to see this band really fail. Like we're usually like by that second show, it's like boom.
Hang on, it stopped recording.
Oh no.
Motherfucker.
Well,
Hold on.
I'm actually technically still getting audio on this. So if you want, we could conceivably pull the audio from this.
I might need you to fill in a gap for me. Okay, real quick, let's just start that conversation over. And then
Okay.
can you edit this video or no?
You can.
Okay, cool.
I mean, let me cut quick or something.
Cut real quick and start over.
Yep. Burp
Well, anyway,
and go.
I just might need that from you, Jerry.
Give me a
Tom's
countdown.
Top 8 is checking in the background, so we're going to get going here. But again,
Okay.
check us out on porktees.com, porktornadoes.com, party.com.com. May 14th, Pella Opera House in Pella. It's going to be a freaking good time. We're going to see you guys soon. We cannot freaking wait.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Woolies.
This is what Tom's Top 8 sounds like
Tom's Top 8. They're
during
checking
sound
right
check.
now. So it's our cue to get the hell off of the internet.
Cool.
And
Hey, we promise. We promise we'll do this again next week.
We'll do this again next week, and we'll bring Corey and Mason here. We'll have the full band, not just the guys in the background.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Porktornadoes.com. We'll see you next time.
Okay,
Goodbye.
we'll see you soon. Bye.